So hi everyone, thank you for coming. I'm Hayley, the marketing manager for Nexus Fostering, and this is my colleague Jenny. And welcome to our virtual event series all about fostering. So we're here over the next 8 weeks, giving you all the information you need to know about fostering, and then hopefully by the end of the 8 weeks, you'll find out whether something you can go into now, or whether it's something that you're going to look for in the future. So week 1 is all about right at the beginning, what happens. Why do children come into foster care? What is fostering? And what the role of a foster carer is. So I will pass you over to Jenny.
Okay, so what is fostering? So it's really lovely to have people along today. Yes, as Hayley said, we want to explain a little bit about what fostering actually is. You may be completely new to it or know a little bit already, so it's really lovely to have you along. Essentially, fostering is caring for a child or a young person in your home who can't live with their birth family. Children come into the care system for all sorts of reasons, which we'll come on to in a little bit more detail. But essentially, you are there to provide, as a foster carer, a stable, safe, nurturing home for a child who hasn't been able to stay with their birth family. It can be a short-term arrangement, a longer-term arrangement, but what all the children coming into the care system have in common is that they need a really stable, safe, nurturing home. And they need carers who are loving, understanding, and flexible to meet the needs of the child that presents at your front door when they arrive to stay with you. Okay, so we think this is a really important statistic to put up here because I think it's quite shocking. I'm still shocked by these statistics, having worked in fostering for quite a long time now. So over 57,000 children were living with foster families as of March last year. That's 68% of the over 80,000 children who were in care and looked after away from home. So there's different types of care. So obviously we're here to talk about foster care, which is where a child is looked after in a family home environment. There's also children who are placed in residential settings for a range of different reasons. It may be related to the complexity of their needs, or it may be around their specific disability, complex health needs. They need something a little bit different to what can be provided in a family home. So we have around 43,000 fostering families in the UK, but we always need more. There are so many children that need to have that family home environment. So yes, every 20 minutes the child comes into care needing a foster family in the UK. And as I said earlier, I think that's a really shocking statistic to see up there. And that's why it is so important, that we explain what fostering is and try and bring more foster carers on board to provide a family for children in care.
So this is a really common question, and I think this it can be quite scary for a lot of people because they don't know why children are in care. So can you explain a bit about the reasons they might be?
Yeah, so it's a real range and spectrum of reasons why children come into the care system. So it can be something like a family member, so the main carer in the household is taken ill, there's an illness, there's a health issue, there's a sudden emergency, and there's nobody else within that family network that could look after the child while the parent or carer is unable to. So in that case, they would need to approach local authority and ask for some support to provide, a safe place for the child to be while this is going on for the family. There's also more complex reasons for families where the local authority, are worried that child might be at risk of harm to stay in a particular situation, or a child has been harmed. And that can be relating, to a number of different reasons. So it could be that there's, as it says on the screen, there could be domestic violence in the home that the child's being exposed to. A parent could have been put into prison, could have been something that has happened. It could be mental health. We talk about physical health needs, but also there's mental health issues for people. And it may be that for whatever reason they can't care for the child at that time. Neglect, so a child's needs day to day might not be being met. So it could be things like not being taken to school, not being kept kind of clean, washed, clothed. And I think it's really important to consider that families are under huge amounts of pressure at the minute. So, we're living in really, really difficult times. Families are struggling. I think the local authority become concerned when that tips over into, a child's basic needs not being met. So neglect is quite a complex issue for children, and it can have a real impact on their development, especially in early years. There could be drug and alcohol addiction in the home. There could have been physical abuse. So all sorts of different reasons why children come into the care system. And it can be for varying lengths of time. So some of the situations we've talked about, it could be something shorter term where the family need, some really intensive support, whether that's medical, social, emotional support, to help them be able to then care for that child again. So a child could come into the care system for a relatively short period of time, or it can be a much longer process where actually, families need longer to make changes and show they can sustain changes for that child, so that actually that's going to be a safe place for the child to be from childhood, through adult years. Children come into care at different ages and stages as well. So we have referrals for really, really young children. We have referrals for teenagers, older primary school children. So, there's really complex reasons why, local authorities become involved with families and children need to come into the care system.
Absolutely.
We thought this was a really important video to show. It's a really powerful one, I think, because we spend a lot of time working with supporting foster carers to feel prepared for a young person coming into your home for the first time. What we really need to hold in mind as well is that, we're adults. It's an unknown situation, this child coming to us for the first time. It's going to make us feel a little bit anxious, a little bit nervous. But for these children coming into care, it could be their first time in care. It may be they've been somewhere else before. But whatever the situation, they don't know what to expect from you. They don't necessarily have cause or reason to trust adults caring for them, or to think that you will care for them consistently, safely. They don't know what to expect from you. You're completely new. So I think we need to hold in mind how the experience of coming into a foster placement might feel for a child, young person as well. So this is a really helpful video just to put some of that into context for us.
And just a disclaimer, there is a slight swearing at the end.
Thank you, Hayley.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a social worker and I'm going to take you to your new home.
How far away is it?
Why have my family disowned me?
Will there be other young people there? Will they like me?
Why is it just me? What will happen to my brothers and sisters?
How long will I be there?
I've never seen a picture of my new carers. Who are they? What are they like?
Will I lose my friends?
Everything I own is in boxes. Don't know where to put them. Can I unpack, place it all where I want?
My ideal foster carer would
Include you in the family.
Laid back but strict when it's necessary.
Not be judgmental.
Respect views and opinions.
Provide your essentials.
Open-minded.
What do I call them? Mum, Dad, what?
Where are my things?
Sometimes I look like this, but I feel like this.
Sometimes I look like this. However, I'm feeling this. Sometimes I feel really sad on the inside.
Sometimes I look like this, but I feel like this. Hello, my name's Joe. I'm 12 years old. I'm standing outside my new placement.
Thank fuck. I'm safe.
That's such a powerful video, isn't it? I think
is.
it's so important to take into consideration how, you know, how they feel and what they've been through. And it's really important that somebody can be there for them at that moment when they're walking into your new home. There's lots of things that you can do to welcome them into your home, and we discuss that later on, but that must be so terrifying for them at that point.
Yeah, and I think, you know, any child coming into care has experienced grief and loss. You know, they've been taken away from everything they know. And we really, you know, need foster carers who have got, you know, a lot of empathy with that, you know, how we feel around change, you know, different things, new situations. You know, these children have been taken from one situation to another. And I think what I like about that video as well is it highlights some of the things that might be going through the child's mind. So they could have been part of a sibling group, for example, you know, where are their siblings? Have they had to go to a different, oh, excuse me, to a different placement? You know, is a sibling still at home? You know, there could be all sorts of things going on for them. You know, if they've left a parent in a really, you know, volatile situation at home, they might feel a sense of responsibility for them. Are they safe? You know, what's going on there? Could be guilt about having made a disclosure about something that happened at home. And, you know, they're bringing all that into the placement with you. So I think, you know, it's a privileged job to have a child placed into your care. It's also, you know, we understand, you know, you're having to think about a lot of different things and really hold a child through, you know, one of the most difficult experiences of their life.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's complex.
And it's obviously giving them a safe home is, you know, one of the most important things that a foster carer can do. But as a role, there's lots more included in that, isn't it? Tell us a bit about what the foster carer role is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're looking for some variety, I think fostering is a really good fit because there are so many different elements to what you do in the role of foster carer. So it can be the practicalities of day to day. You know, these children need to be going to school consistently. They need to have everything they need ready for the school day. They need to have your time. They need to be kind of encouraged, you know, and understand what it is that makes them tick. What are they interested in? You know, tap into their interest, support them to attend clubs, activities, make connections with friends, maintain connections with friends. You know, I think if a child's been taken away from everything that's familiar to them, things like places like school can be an absolute sanctuary because they're known, it's familiar, it's comfortable. So building relationships with a child's school and helping them keep friendships that have been important to them previously. Be an advocate for a child. So actually their voice needs to be at the centre of everything, you know, that's happening around them. They may not always have the words, the tools, or be in the space where they can, you know, tell everybody what they feel they want and need. You're their advocate, you know, you can represent their views at meetings with other professionals. Working with other professionals is a huge element of the foster carer role because there will be a team of people around a child in the care system who are all, you know, the goal is the same. It's to help this child thrive, really. And you're a really, really big part of that as a foster carer. You're kind of amongst this web of people around a child that are all trying to do their bit to make that happen. But you are the one that's there 24/7. You're the one that is building that relationship over time with a young person. So you're uniquely placed to be able to kind of share with other people what is the experience of this child, you know, what matters to them, you know, can we be doing more to help them thrive. On the slide it gives, you know, a really good idea of different things that a foster carer is doing in their role, things like teaching life skills. And again, it will vary a little bit depending on what age and stage a child is at. So for a younger child, your role will look possibly quite different. You're still meeting all, you know, the basic needs of a child of any age, but for perhaps an older child, it's about helping them make sense of their identity. You know, they're working at that really awkward age of working out, you know, who am I, what, you know, what makes me me, and helping prepare them for the next stage of life. So developing some independent skills, you know, helping them make some choices, take risks, knowing that they're coming back to a safe place with you. You know, giving them experiences. We don't want to wrap children up in cotton wool. At the end of the day, these are all children. You know, they should be allowed to, I don't know, enjoy, play, make mistakes, get it a bit wrong, knowing that you're there to kind of hold them and say, you know, okay, wasn't great. You know, we'll move on. You know, what could we do differently another time? Their families are always going to be important to them, children in the care system. So people will come and go, professionals will come and go for children over the course of their life if they're in the care system, but their families will always be their families. And that's difficult sometimes because we know kind of what's gone on there, but it's really, really important that foster carers support children to see and spend time with their family if it's safe to do so. The way that that happens varies, and it's very, very dependent on individual case by case basis, and what is safe, what's in the interests of that child. But the majority of children will still be seeing family members, and that could be parents, grandparents, siblings. It's so important to have that time with their siblings if they're not placed together in the same placement. So there are all sorts of different elements to the foster carer role. And I think children will test you in a million different ways over the course of an hour. I think, as with all children, they will push your buttons, they'll do unexpected things, they'll make you smile, they'll make you laugh and absolutely delight in them, all within the space of probably about 10 minutes, actually. With most children, you're there to be that really consistent, calm person that they come back to, they want to enjoy things with, but also know you're going to be there if it's been a difficult day. Actually, you're not going to say, do you know what, this is, I can't believe you did that, let's, can't deal with that. That's not what these children need. They need adults that will stick with them, allow them to make mistakes. These children, yes, they're still children, but they've been dealt a set of circumstances that are really, really difficult for them. They may not have developed the coping strategies or, mechanisms for navigating through life that children with a really stable, consistent start to life have got the benefit of. They might have had to develop ways of managing situations and coping, surviving. So, we need to be understanding about that, empathizing, not expecting huge amounts of change within the space of kind of 5 minutes. It's about meeting a child where they are, and giving them time, space to build trust with you, and to hopefully make progress, whatever that looks like for that particular child.
It is going to be little things day by day, isn't it? It's not going to be that you're going to do it within a few days. It's going to be little by little, and regardless of time, it's just those little changes really can add up by the end. And also there's a role reversal in the fact that foster carers will learn so much from the children that they have with them, isn't there? They'll be able to bring something extra to their life that they may not know has been missing, but they could learn so much from these children, can't they?
Yeah, we were delivering some training yesterday, myself and a colleague, for people who've applied to foster with us, and we were talking about kind of the concept of a child being a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. And when a child first comes to you, it's a lot about kind of putting all those pieces together, working out, we have information about a child's background, but we won't know the full picture necessarily. So it's about piecing things together over time, working out what makes them tick, and really enjoying that, because children are, gosh, they're fascinating, aren't they? And they, as I said, they will surprise us in so many ways, and it's lovely to get to know a child, and you can kind of celebrate those kind of small steps of progress.
Absolutely. So we know there's no typical foster carer.
No.
Everyone comes from different backgrounds, cultures, religions, everyone is so different. So talk to us a bit about what skills do they need? Any skills to come across to be a carer?
So I think people have often got a lot more skills than they realise they have when they're coming to fostering. And as you say, Hayley, I think we need a real range of foster carers, because we've got a real range of children. We have children from every faith, ethnicity, background, gender, sexuality. We need foster carers that represent the demographic of children we have, really. So we're really interested to hear from people from all walks of life. And I think we equally want to hear from people who have parented. You bring a lot of skills, knowledge and experience from your own, how you parented your own children. But equally, if you haven't parented, that's not a barrier to fostering. We're looking at the assessment stage at, what skills, what qualities and what potential you have as a carer. We don't need completely Mary Poppins, I suppose. That's not realistic, and actually that's not necessarily what children need. You know, we're looking for people that have got, you know, a sense of humour. You know, are you going to be brilliant at tapping into a child's interests? Are you really big on kind of education? You know, we're looking at, you know, you as a whole picture, really. You know, what can you bring in helping you maybe pick out, you know, skills, experiences that you didn't realise you had. We often have applicants who have got some childcare experience through work, for example, or voluntary work, paid work. So perhaps in nursery education, nannying. We've had people, and just with a real passion for making a difference with children. Really, we want you to enjoy children, I suppose, is essentially it. You know, and understand, you know, what you can bring to it, and we can help you kind of draw that out a little bit. So if you are interested in fostering, you know, but you're thinking, oh, I'm not sure, am I the right person, then let's chat about it. You know, make contact. We can, you know, look at, okay, well, what experience do you bring, what skills do you bring, and what's your motivation? We're really interested to hear kind of why is it you're interested in fostering. You know, what is it about fostering that has really sort of lit a spark in you and has made you want to explore this more?
And we've got lots of people, and you can read the stories on our website, and some of them are there, but you can see that lots of people have had careers, you know, in finance, in HR. Lots of people have 20-30 year careers, and actually they're getting to a point of they just want to be able to give back, and this really fits their bill. They've built up their knowledge and skills over that time in maybe in a particular sector, but actually they can really transfer those into becoming a foster carer and do something for the good. So we've got lots of stories.
I think there is a professional element to it as well, because, you know, as we touched on, you're having to work with a range of different professionals, you know, attending meetings, being a strong advocate. So actually, if you've got some relevant experience through your work experience and career, that's really, you know, really useful to have. You'll have so much support, you know, from the agency and from your supervising social worker if you're fostering. So there's nothing that you will encounter that you won't be approaching as part of a team, you know, and I think Nexus do that really, really well. I've been with Nexus for around 6 years, and I had my 6-year work anniversary last week. It popped through. And, you know, one of the things that I really enjoy about being part of the agency is I always feel really confident that, you know, I can say to people, you will be supported. And I know that carries through from everybody you come into contact with, from assessment, point of assessment, through to when you're fostering. So I think, you know, as I say, we're looking for potential, absolutely, potential enthusiasm and commitment to the children that we're supporting.
Absolutely. And this is a lovely video from one of our foster carer, Tim, who kind of explains what you just said. And I think he's really passionate about fostering. He's done it for quite a while now, I think 6-7 years. And we just wanted to share this because how he describes the role of the foster carer is really lovely, and I think will resonate with you.
Many and varied roles. So the first thing is just to offer these children unconditional love, to show them that somebody cares about them, has got their corner and is rooting for them. And it's about getting them into good routines. You know, quite often the children that come to us haven't had any routine. I mean, I'm sat at our dining room table. For some people, that children might come into our home and never seen a dining room table, let alone sat at one. We've got a rule, for example, in our house, we never have the TV on when we're eating. Again, that's very unusual for some children. They might have just sat on a chair and been in front of the telly and eaten whatever they're eating. So it's about establishing good routines so the children know where they are, we know where we are, and it's about helping them grow and develop their potential. You know, I think that's the biggest job of a foster care, is to develop the child's potential, because, you know, there are great stories of children that have had care experience that have gone on to do amazing things, and each one of our children, be it a child with additional needs or whatever their issue is when they come to us, every child has got potential. And I think our biggest, after loving them unconditionally, our biggest job is to develop that potential and draw out the gold that's within them.
I love that video. I think it just sums it up perfectly. I really do. So to finish then, so finally, it's obviously children are at the heart of everything that we do. So everything that we offer you with regards to training and support, you know, the children are there at the heart of it. So it's really important that we got some feedback from them in our youth council about what it is that they actually want in a foster carer, because that also leads into us, about where we can find them and what they're doing. So tell us a bit about what children want in a foster carer.
I think, yeah, so I think all the things we see on screen, obviously things children have told us, this is what's important to us. And I think what I'm always really heartened by when we kind of ask children these questions, it's not about having a PlayStation 5 necessarily. It's not about having, I don't know, loads of Robux on Roblox, it's about the really core, really basic things that all children should be able to have and should be able to expect the adults caring from them. So they want people who are going to laugh at jokes and enjoy having fun. Like we say, we want carers that can take a playful approach and let a child be a child. I think some of our children have missed out on really core experiences of playing, being silly, being able to be a child of the age that they perhaps are. They might have had to be a young carer for somebody. They've had to, understand or try and make sense of really adult concepts, at an age they weren't ready to. So laugh at jokes, enjoy having fun with them, be a positive role model. I think, for couples and single carers, actually, the relationships you have with other people model something to a child in your care. So, model working through difficult times, things can be resolved without it resorting to kind of arguments and becoming physical. Model, what we want for children in terms of the relationships they build through their lives, model that for them. Don't be judgmental. So I can't stress enough those links between a child and their birth family. All children will, likely have some form of contact with their birth family. It's really important that we treat those relationships with the utmost respect. We're not there to be judge and jury about the situation a family have found themselves in. And as I said earlier, people are living in really, really difficult times. There's a lot of challenges. Children need to know that we're not going to be judgmental about where they've come from, where they are, and those relationships they want to have with family and the choices they make. They will make unwise, silly choices sometimes. All children do. It's about picking up the pieces afterwards and not letting them think that defines them. So be a shoulder to lean on, be there, be available for a child. And that's not giving them this amazing experience at Disneyland necessarily. It's about being there after school, just letting them know I'm here if you want to chat about your day. Should we make some dinner together? Do you want got a hot chocolate? Do you want something? Should we do something together? It's about being around and there when they're ready to talk, and that will often be really inopportune moments when you're in the middle of doing something else, or when actually you're driving somewhere. That's quite a common experience, when it's not that kind of one-on-one eye contact, but side by side, driving somewhere. A child will often find that the time that they feel more able to open up about something. So be available, be open, be ready to listen, be an awesome person they want to spend time with. There's no big ask there. But they want to get to know you just as much as you want to get to know them, and they may not outwardly show that because they don't necessarily know that you're going to carry on wanting them, and they don't know how you're going to react to certain things while they're still getting to know you. But they do want to get to know you generally, even if they hide it very well. Be honest, be upfront with them. You can't make promises that everything's going to be absolutely fine. And you can say, while you're with me, I will absolutely be keeping you safe. I'm there to fight your corner. I'm there to advocate for you. I want you here. You have a sense of belonging with us for as long as you are here. But you can't, make up, a version for them that is going to happen in the future in terms of family and longer term care planning. But you can pose the questions they have to their social worker. You can say to people, we need to give this child a more concrete idea of what's going on. So be honest about what you can and can't do. Get to know us. So as we were saying earlier again, what are they interested in? What do they like? What they really not like? And be interested in schoolwork and hobbies. If they've done really well at something at school, and I don't mean necessarily academically, but perhaps they've been kind to somebody else, perhaps they got chosen to do a sports fixture or something, celebrate it. Tell them, we are so proud of you. This is an amazing thing that you've done. And that can be, little things, because these children often haven't had a lot of that praise and that positive reinforcement. So their self-esteem can be pretty low when they come into foster care. So it's about having a role in building that up. So I don't think any of these things are outrageous demands from children. They're things that, children deserve and should have, and hopefully as a foster carer come quite naturally to want to provide to a child in your care.
I was going to say, these are the basics, aren't they? Most people should have these this about them anyway. So all the learning and the development kind of comes on top of that we can help them with. But this is kind of the basics, and they're not big asks, are they?
No,
they're just they're we need to be there for them and help them thrive. Brilliant. So we've had a couple of questions through. How long would the children usually stay with a foster carer?
So it can really vary. So it depends what stage a child is at. So if a child's been taken into care for the first time, and if, say, there are reasons to be concerned for their safety, or they think they may be at risk of harm, the local authority will initiate care proceedings. They'll have to go to court to have it agreed that a child can come into the care system and why it is that they're requesting that. So in that case, a placement can be kind of dictated for how long that court process takes, while plans are made, while people are assessing, okay, what is the situation here, what is the best long-term outcome for this child. So generally it's difficult. It's a bit like how long's a piece of string, isn't it? We have foster carers that have had children with them for years and years. They've come, they've stayed, it's a really established, really good placement for them, and they've stayed from very young age all the way through to adulthood. We've had children who have come into the care system at the very beginning of those care proceedings in court, while assessments are being made about what is the best plan for them long term, and within the year they've been able to return home to family. And in some of the scenarios we talked about earlier, where there's been a period, say, of family ill health, a planned arrangement where a child's needed to be accommodated for a short period of time, they can be much shorter. So yeah, I'm afraid it's not a clear cut. This is how long it's going to be. But when you're kind of chatting about fostering and talking to us about what might work best for your family, that's absolutely something we would talk about, whether you are an applicant that would be able to offer a short-term placement to a child. So, and in my head, I would be thinking short-term kind of up to a year, perhaps a bit more than that, but longer-term plans are made for a child. Or if you're somebody that would really like to care for a child over a really long period of time, and would be open to that. But they would all be things that would be unpicked during that assessment process as well, to work out what would be the best fit for your family. What can you offer to a child?
Brilliant. Another one we've had through, can you foster if you have pets?
Yes, you can foster if you have pets, and I think sometimes it can be a bit of an added bonus for a child. So pets can be a really good way of breaking the ice, a bit of a talking point for a child, and a real comfort for a child. Generally, it is absolutely yes, 100%. There's some caveats to that. So, for example, if a dog is on the banned dog list, so there are certain breeds of dog that we wouldn't be able to place alongside. We would always do a pet assessment as part of the assessment process. So we would talk to you about, okay, what pets do you have in the household? We would be making an observation about how are those pets when someone first comes into the household. Are they kind of boisterous? Are they comfortable with new people coming in? How do we see this working for a child coming in? I think we always have to anticipate that children might be a bit nervous to start with around animals, especially if they haven't lived in a house where there's been pets previously. But we would just be talking to you about, how would you introduce them? Can we be mindful of that when a child first comes into placement? And it would be something to think about when we're matching placement. So when we're looking at which child might be the right fit, and would you be the right fit for them, we would be taking into account things like pets. Do you have pets? Is that okay? From the child's point of view, things like that. But we have, I think a lot of our foster carers have pets. Actually, I think that's probably something about being that nurturing kind of person, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a bit of a natural fit there. But we have foster carers who have had a parrot, a tortoise, guinea pigs. I'm just thinking about carers that I've had contact with so far this week. A real spectrum of animals.
Yeah.
And I think generally it's a big thumbs up for pets, but we just need to understand a little bit more about them and make sure there's no risk there for the child. Brilliant. Or for your pets as well.
Can they foster if somebody has a criminal record?
Yeah, again, this is a bit of a case by case. So it's not a no. We need to understand, what was that about? Was that I don't know, breaking into a car when you were 17 and now you're 55, you know, and there's been nothing since. You know, we need to understand the context to that. What was the offence, and be really upfront with us about it. So as long as we know from the very, very point of, you know, making contact with you, having that initial visit to meet you in your home, talking more about fostering, learning more about you, tell us about it, talk to us about it, help us understand. And again, you know, in the way we don't want foster carers to be judgmental. We're not here to kind of be judge and jury for you either. We just want to understand and know what impact, if any, that will have for fostering. So we have foster carers who have got a criminal record, something has happened in, you know, in the past. And again, it's that understanding it, making sense of it. Okay, what's the impact? Let's move forward. And I think sometimes people who have had, I don't know how to say it, a more colourful life experience, it's not always a bad thing. You know, you bring a lot of lessons there about, you know, making changes, making sustaining positive changes. And actually, how did you do that? You know, was that about having really trusted, good people in your life, good adults that helped you make a change? So yeah, so just talk to us about it, be open about it, not because we want to judge, but because we need to understand. And then if, you know, there are reasons why we wouldn't be able to take you forward, we'll explain that, you know, in a clear and sensitive way as well.
Absolutely. And this one we do get asked quite a lot. Can they foster if they rent their home?
Yes, you can foster if you rent, but you would need to have permission from your landlord. So again, at the point of initial visit to come out and meet you, we would talk to you about where you live, have a little look round the bedroom you're hoping to use for fostering, and we would talk to you about what is the situation in terms of owning or renting your home and what you would need to do. So generally you need to have permission in writing from your landlord very, very early on for us to be able to proceed, just so they understand that you're, you know, hoping to use your home for fostering, and check that they're okay with that.
Brilliant. And there's lots more FAQs on our website. You know, we get asked such a variety of questions. And remember, you know, there's no such thing as a silly question. It's just information gathering. So have a look at the website. All of the FAQs are on there. If there is one that's not on there, absolutely. Here's my details, and here's the numbers and my email address. So feel free to email me with any kind of questions that you have, and we can get back to you. So week two next week is about the fostering process. So it's giving you some information about what happens at initial visit when we come to see you, what happens through the assessment, and then the training and the support that we give you through that period of time, as well as when you're approved as a foster carer. So thank you, Jenny. And thanks everyone, and we will see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.